In 1652, a Dutch trading company established a base on the west coast of Africa. This marks the first time another country claimed land from the natives, but it wouldn't be the last. In 1795, the British came in and took over the Cape Town from the Dutch to keep it from the French. In 1835, the Dutch left the Cape in order to start their own colonies without the British fighting for control. So they founded the Orange Free State and the Transvaal. In the late 1850s, the Dutch declared that the Transvaal is a republic. In 1877, the British annexed the Transvaal. The British and the Dutch kept going back and forth for control of land and resources, which meant that they were not being careful about not hurting civilians or being worried about how their fighting was affecting the natives. In 1879, the British defeated the Zulus during their attempt to rebel. In 1880 to 1899, the Dutch and the British had two wars to gain control of the Transvaal. In 1961, the South Africa was declared a republic. In 1961, Britain was not in charge anymore. They set up a government with a Congress that elected a member to be president. From 1961 to 1994, the British left a corrupt and racist governmental system, which was kept in place. That means that powerful white men were still in charge, and therefore the public education system was not a main focus. It was segregated and racist. From 1994 till today, there was a governmental reform that stemmed from many protests and riots, yet they were focused mostly on the local systems, so there are still problems that need to be fixed in this new government.
The country of South Africa is located in the southern African region of Africa. The culture is diverse and represents the different tribes that reside there, as well as the Dutch and English roots that stayed from the colonizations. There are 12 recognized languages and 4 recognized population groups: Black, White, Colored, and Asian. South Africa encompasses roughly 758,000 square miles of land. South Africa borders Namibia, Botswana, Mozambique, surrounds Lesotho and Swaziland. The Indian Ocean is its only coastline, and it is mainly used for commerce. With South Africa's subtropical climate, there is not a lot of rainfall, so humans have built dams so the country can be supplied with hydroelectric power and irrigation. There has also been many wildlife preserves put in place to protect the land and animals from poaching. The oil and mining industry have also greatly affected the environment with the dangers of crude oil and other pollutants. The physical geography of South Africa includes 2 main geographical regions, the coastal region and the high interior plateaus. Surrounding the coastal lowlands are the Cederberg, Swartberg, and Beyonna's mountain ranges. The Kalahari Desert is a large desert located in the southern-western portion of Africa. It has many plateaus and is considered one of the driest places in South Africa. Globalization in South Africa is proving to be a great thing. Through trade and other industries, the economy has increased an average of 5% over the past 3 years and continues to grow. Yet, South Africa is still one of the most unequal countries in the world.
There are many social, economic, and political connections to the issue of education. Socially, schools mirror the outside world and teach kids real-world problems, as well as establish a worker mindset in kids. Dysfunctional school systems can also lead to an uneducated society. Economically, bad education can contribute to an uneducated and unproductive workforce. But on the contrary, public school systems support many teaching, custodial, administrative, and culinary jobs. Politically, productive school systems reflect a productive and successful political system and stable society, which contributes to an overall positive global image, therefore promoting peace.
In dark
impact of education in South Africa is children not getting a daily stable education, which in some cases can contribute to a rise in crime rates. Entire generations are affected and robbed of knowledge necessary for daily functions. Each individual and generation is affected because if you can't learn, you can't teach, an issue trickling down upon generation after generation. Tribal issues include different laws between tribes, creating inequalities throughout the country. Resource-wise, only 7% of South Africa's total imports include basic technology like computers, televisions, radios, and office equipment, and only 8% of South Africa's total imports include motor vehicles. The issue of education in South Africa is a major one that needs to be addressed.
The obvious, yet most effective solution to South Africa's unsatisfactory education system would be revamped budgeting allocation. The national budget simply does not give enough money to their educational system. To put it in perspective, the United States allocates over $107 billion a year, while South Africa spends only $21 billion. To have a satisfactory education system, it takes a lot of money. This is what their government doesn't understand. This misbudgeting has left 8 million children educationless, almost half of their total youth population. And to make matters worse, of that small percentage that actually do go to school, most only go through 8th grade. This is due to the fact that South Africa's allotted budget only leaves enough to fund through middle school. This is so strange because there is plenty of money to fund 12 years of school for every child. South Africa spends about only 6% of their total budget on education, and a large amount of the other 94% are spent on programs totally unnecessary to the daily prosperity and success of South Africa as a whole. Or take the Female Farmer of the Year award. This award rewards a great deal of money to one female farmer every year. This program only benefits one person. Many of these programs should be downsized or even totally eliminated to allow more money for public education. Some examples include South Africa's Program of Action, which gives money to national ministers to carry out everyday actions while on the job. Essentially, this program is giving extra money to their government officials, i.e. keeping the rich rich while depriving poor citizens of basic rights like education. In fact, in the 1950s, this program spurred a riot between citizens and government in which citizens called out the unlawful monetary practices of their representatives. Yet somehow, this program still flies under the radar every year. And on a broader scale, the entire South African Communications Division is also pointless. It is eating away large amounts of money without yielding any great benefits to South Africa as a whole. It funds the transfer of government documents from paper to digital analogs. If that money were allocated to education, the entire country could benefit. Digital documents benefit nobody. But the worst money sucker of all is the New Growth Plan, which uses more money than any other program or organization in South Africa's budget. This initiative has good intentions but is sorely misguided. The New Growth Plan is meant to stimulate the economy and create more jobs for citizens. However, due to the lack of education amongst adults, over half of which had insufficient schooling, there are very few people who have the qualifications to fulfill these newly created jobs. So obviously, there is no point in creating jobs if nobody can do them correctly. If these programs alone were abolished, almost a fourth of the total budget could be redirected to the education.